Greetings, peace. I'm Hakeem, or some people in the community like to call me Brother Hakeem. I'm a member of the New Black Film Collective, and I'm truly honored to be a part of a series of masterclasses that have been put forward and set up by Action Xtreme in conjunction with the British Council. And so we're going to be doing a series of one-to-ones with the cast, with the actors of a brilliant, brilliant new film that's come straight out of Nollywood, straight out of Nigeria, Son of the Soil. So we'll be doing a series of masterclasses where you'll be able to get insights to not only the individual and the actors themselves and what inspired them and their experience of being a part of the whole wonderful film, Son of the Soil, but also getting some insights into the profession of acting, what it really takes, where your passion can truly lead you to, and can you even be an actor with a purpose? So we're going to be covering all of that in this series. First with us is a dear, dear brother and a wonderful actor that blazed the screen. I've got to say, this brother really blazed the screen with the film Son of the Soil. And this brother is a tremendous talent.
My name is Damilola Ogunsi, and I'm a Nigerian actor. I started acting when I was in primary 4. I think basically before then, I was born into kind of, how do I describe it now? It's a film family. My father was a movie connoisseur. He loved to watch films. So we watched a lot of films growing up, from the old one, the classics, My Fair Lady, My Fair Lady, A Star is Born, The Sound of Music, Odessa File, Reservoir Dogs, the old ones. So we grew up watching films and horror films and everything. So we like to crowd around and just watch films. And my kind of family, we do dialogue in films. Like I could, even up till today, I could pop a dialogue in an old movie and my father will pick it up and my mom will pick it up and we could just play the scene right there. So I grew up in that kind of family where we watch films. So, instinctively, there was just this notion that he's meant to do this. I'm an only son among 3 lovely sisters. So every time I watch a film, I'm the one who's always playing whatever the lead character is. I'm always imitating, I'm always mimicking him. If it's a musical, I'm playing the guitar. If it's RoboCop, I'm walking around like a robot. Whatever it is, I get to play it all the time. Everybody laughs at it. So I started doing theater when I was in primary school, in primary 4.
Okay.
My first play ever, This Is Our Chance. I even remember my opening lines from that play in my primary 4. And so from there on, it's been from drama group to my drama group in secondary school, to my drama group in university, to drama group in church, to emceeing and comparing for events and doing theater all along the way. It's just a part of me that I will always just love to tell stories, just to be able to step out of my own self and just be another person and tell their story and live their life. So then I moved around a lot. I went into real estate and I went into banking for like 9 years. And at a certain point, I decided, what do I really want to do with my life? I've got multiplicity of talents. What do I really want to do? And I decided that, look, I want to be an actor. I'm passionate about it. I love it. Then I decided to go to film school. And I was working in the bank then, so I attended the New York Film Academy where I studied acting for film in Los Angeles. Then I came back and got a couple of movie roles. Bang, I was into it. I'd done some films before I left banking, but right after my training and I came back, I got a very big movie role, a lead role. I went for an audition and I got the lead role because the person that was needed to play the lead role was a person with albinism. So that was my 7th movie. I think 7 is a lucky number. And I got to the reading and I saw the stars that I've always drooled over, growing up. They were in the room with me and, I did the film, gave it 500%, and I knew that, this is what I really wanted to do. Went back, quit my day job at the bank, then I went straight into Nollywood. And it's going to be 9 years that I left banking now this year. So that's how I got into film.
What was that real inspirational moment that made you think, I'm going to leave something that I know is solid in a way of a career and take a chance with acting?
So for me, and that's a very beautiful question you asked me. For me, it was more like you know, one thing about me is I tend to enjoy everything I set my hands on. I'm an enjoying kind of guy. So if I
Right.
decide to do something, I'm going to do it with all my heart. So when I was in the banking sector, I actually did love it. But I got to a point where I started to ask myself question, what do I want my future to be? I've been here for, about 7, I think it was my 7th year in banking. I've been here
Oh,
for 7 years. Then when I look at my bosses, and I'm going to be very honest with you and very raw with you on this one, I
please
started
go
looking
ahead.
at I started looking at some of my bosses back in the days, with all due respect to them, but there was something I noticed about some of them. They had, these big cars, they had these big mortgages going, they had these lovely cars that they were paying loans on, but their eyes were dead. They would come to the office and I couldn't see the dream in their eyes. There was like
Oh,
nothing to look forward to. It was just a good fat salary. So then I used to ask myself that, is this what I'd be like in another 3, 5, 10 years, like with the dreams dead in my eyes? And I loved acting. I mean, I watch a film, I want to tell stories, and I knew in my heart that I'm a storyteller. This is where I really want to be. So that's why I started testing the waters. Even though when I was in the bank, I was doing radio drama, I'd done a couple of films. Then I knew, I went to test it out, that is this what you really want to do? And I found out that I really want to do this. So I went to film school. And when I came back, I had to make a decision. It's either you jump now or you get so caught up in banking that you're not going to be able to jump. This is the best. If you want another career, at that time I wasn't married. I mean, I'm not married at the moment too, but I didn't have a wife. I didn't have
oh,
a dog. It was just me. So I knew I could take the risk with my life, because when I looked into the future, I didn't want to be a banker. I liked it, but that wasn't the future that I want. I wanted to be in a James Bond movie, in an Iron Man movie, or a Batman movie. I
right.
wanted to do action sequences, car chases and all that, tell stories and all that, be in an action film. So I just said, okay, fine, man. I'm just going to do this. I love this. I want to do this, and I will find my way around. But one more thing. I did it very responsibly. So when I knew that I was likely going to jump out in about 2 to 3 years, I'd started saving up a lot. So I said, sacrificing a lot of pleasures and saving up a lot. So by the time I was going to leave, I'd saved up a lot that could tide me over for actually a couple of years. So I put in that effort knowing I was going to change. So it was a bit easy for me knowing, okay, I had something I could fall back on. If I tried this for a couple of years, it doesn't work, I could go do real estate or something. So
Right.
um, but I was determined it was going to work. Actually, I didn't even think of any other options. There was only plan A. There wasn't any plan B, and I jumped into it. That's how I got here.
So that
Yeah,
takes courage and a lot of self-belief.
yeah. That's it.
Oh,
I mean, I realized that was the only thing I had. Either courage, self-belief, because I also knew that if I didn't go, then I
mm,
would have to deal with the regret of not trying.
right.
I
Okay.
was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Then I'll stick it out. It's going to work. Like, I've got the talent. I believe in myself. I can make it happen. Before I left banking, the first major roadblock that appeared was I had a discussion with one of the biggest directors in Nigeria
Right.
today, and I told him I wanted to leave banking. I was doing well. I was like middle management. I was earning really well. So that I was going to leave banking and just come start. I was unknown. I was moving from a totally different industry into the entertainment industry. I mean, they are not even parallel lines. They're just far apart. So,
Right.
and he said something to me, Akim. He said, why do I want to leave a stable job with what I earn and
Hmm.
move into the movie industry? That have I seen anybody with albinism in the
Okay.
industry that he doesn't think I should do that? That they won't know what to do with me. So that he doesn't think I should. I haven't. There's nobody with albinism in the industry that
Right.
he doesn't advise me. And I thank God for the way I was raised. Right, my parents raised me never to feel different. They didn't treat me differently growing up. My parents are dark skinned. My two elder sisters are dark skinned.
Hmm.
Then I got a younger sister who's fair skinned like me. But
Okay.
the magic my parents did was they never treated me any differently. So
Hmm.
I didn't grow up knowing or feeling I was different, because at home they treated me just like everybody else. So when this director told me this, right, I
Mm.
realized there were two options. I could just back out, But the second option was more attractive, which is, if there's nobody with albinism in the industry, then it means if I step in,
right,
it's going to be me.
uh-huh,
Why shouldn't it be me? Then I stepped in. Okay, it's going to be me. So there's nobody like me in the industry. It's going to be me. I know I have talent. I'll keep on working at it. And here am I. And I thank God that didn't, set me back. So I went at it, and it was just from one role to the other. And, sometimes I also realized that, there are certain roles, based on stigmatization and the way our
yes,
society is formed, there are certain roles that I may not be, picked. I may not be the first actor to call on. If you want to play a lover boy role, there are several actors that may fit that. But I also do not agree, because I'm working on it, working on my body, and I've been hitting the gym and all that, trying to also
right,
get that look and all that. But I know also that when it comes to playing villains and action roles, and maybe cops and doctors and lawyers, with all due respect, there's no film I think I've done that I would think of any actor that can play better. So I was
right,
like, okay, I'll go a niche, right? I'm going to use this look to my advantage. And that has been it. So that's also that's been one of the issues that cropped up. I'm the only guy in the industry who looks like this. But also, there are also many advantages to it, because another thing I looked at is, if I dare to go, then other people who couldn't go will see me as an inspiration,
right.
and they will step forward. So I believe that that's a bigger value proposition for me taking the risk. And I've seen people meet me on the road, people thank me for it, people with albinism come to say they want to be in film, and a lot of people just meet me on the road and say, oh, your courage inspired me to do this, that you're doing this. So those were the challenges initially. The skin tone was a challenge, but this is how I've overcome it. I decided to see it from a positive light and decided to carve a niche for myself, and yeah, this is where I am.
So how do you approach character development? Maybe especially for like emotional complexity, or even if there's a moral conflict with the character. So how do you approach that regarding
All right. So for me, the first thing is, when I get the script, I love to read. I'm a reader. I love to read. So the first thing, I read the script generally. Just read it to see if
right,
I like it, or does it tug at my heart. So this is also one thing I'm known for in Nollywood, which I thank God for. But I mean, I see it in a good light. So the word on the street about me is that I'm very selective about the movies
okay,
I get into, and that's the truth. So if I don't like the script, I'm not going to get into the film, because my character really has nothing to bring. It's like the character doesn't really like his own life. So that's affected my character already. So I read the script, I like it. Then I read for my character, and I read over and over and over again. I want to know the stories. I want to know why he's there. So the first thing for me is, what my role in this film is the first thing I want to know. Why is he there? What's his job? I don't care why everybody else is there. I mean, I'll find that out later. But this guy, in the story of this portion of life that we cut out, which is the film, life is going, then we cut out this portion of life. What does he want? Why is he in the film? What is he there to do? So once I'm able to establish that, then I want to establish, okay, this is what he wants, right? This is why he's there. What does he want? How is he trying to get it from scene to scene? So, I read the script over and over and over. Many times I read it in the morning, I read it at night, I read it when I'm hungry, I read it when I'm full, I read it when I'm happy, I read it when I'm pissed. I just read as much as possible to start creating different emotions. And so when I read in different scenarios, there are certain emotions that jump out to me from the script. And I understand this is how this should be best played at this time. So I start seeing that emotional graph, of the character, scene by scene. Then later I now extract all my scenes. Then, okay, from this scene 1, scene 4, scene 9, scene 24, like, okay, where am I coming from in any scene, and where am I going? So I try to just understand what the character is doing. Then I create my own backstory. Once I
okay,
really have an understanding of the character, I want something I can fall back on, because the character is coming from somewhere with the past. So where is he coming from? What happened to him? Where is his mindset? Then I go into so what I've eventually gotten to after a while in the industry is I've created my own technique. Like
Okay.
I've basically studied all of the techniques. I can assure you, bro. Every one of them you can think of. I've read everything I can. I've read as much as I can about it. Well, not everything, but at least I've read all the
Right.
techniques. And I decided that what works for me, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about your technique, but they want the truth of the character. So I write the backstory, then then I look at what does the character say about himself? What do people say about him? What's his mindset? How does he feel? What's his identity like? What's his self-esteem? What's his status in life? How does he identify himself? Because we all in life, we all act based on who we really think we are deep inside. So what I'm always looking for is his subconscious mind. What are his beliefs? Even if he doesn't, I like to know that intrinsically. What are his beliefs? What does he feel? What does he think? What does he believe about this? What does he believe about morality? Where does he draw the line? Then I use my imagination a lot. I try to picture myself as the character in my mind's eye. So I create the scenes. And so one of the things I've learned to do well is my imagination.
Okay.
Some people try to dig into their past to get emotion. Sometimes I use that as well for complex scenes. But a lot of time when I can, so the subconscious mind does not know what is real and what is imagined. So that's what I use. So I tend to imagine it over and over again. Then sometimes I write out affirmations for the character so that I can feel him. I want to feel the character in my body. I want to think his thoughts. So I try to understand, what does he think? How does he think? What is he interested in? So once I create that backstory of what he's interested in, I'm going to binge on those kind of things for a while. And where does he go? What are his hobbies? So I tend to play around those hobbies for the duration while I'm getting ready. What that does is it makes me live in a believability in my own heart that it's happening to me. So when I get on set, I usually feel like I've been living the life of the character, then I'm just continuing what he's doing. I don't necessarily want to have to get on set then, I'm going to go and fetch the character from somewhere. I am already the character. So when I get on set, the camera just roll. Is like it's a continuation of the way I've been living. So I tend to sleep like him, wake up like him. I decide what he eats, what is diet like, and at home I just basically feed on that. So when I was doing Son of the Soul, for example, I decided that Jagolabi likes meat. So I used to, I like to cook. So I would grill steak in the house. I would eat it, and I say in my mind that he knows how to box, even though he never boxed physically. There was no boxing match in the film, but in my head, this guy could box. So anytime I go to the gym, I will spar with my trainer, just to feel it in my body, just to feel the truth of that character. So basically that's how I do it. With the imagination, like I said, the mind doesn't know, the subconscious mind doesn't know what is real or what is imagined. So when I imagine myself in the situation and scenario, the feeling automatically comes into my body. So when I think, I feel the emotions, and I love it when I feel it in my body, like intrinsically, and then I do my relaxation techniques. I decide how does he walk. I find out his walk. Now, if you watched in Son of the Soul, for example, in real life, I don't walk like that. With the boots, with the way he was, with that swagger, with that, I got everything under control. Like I'm not scared of anybody.
Yes.
In life, I'm usually walking. I'm really quite brisk when I'm walking, like a tap, tap, tap. But I had to slow it down. Then drag. In the boots, like this guy just is in control. So I learned that the physicality. Then I walk around like that. I keep walking around till my muscles, learn that rhythm and all that. Maybe my speech at times also depends on how I want him to sound. So I try to, write a lot about him. How is he? I want to see the humanness of the guy, of the characters I'm playing. So that's where the work really comes in, and that's my favorite part of it. Not even the acting, to be very honest. Not well. I mean, I'm telling you that not the acting is great, but I enjoy the preparation. the me lending my soul to another person, doing all the work and getting the character. It's I absolutely love it.
So what was it like collaborating? So as an artist, what was it like collaborating with a UK Nigerian creative team?
I think that basically everything just works together for our good in life. So
Mm,
remember, I used to work in the bank, yeah.
yes.
And while working in the bank, I've dealt with different embassies, different customers, different clientele, different people over the years. You know, you get to respect people's culture, you try to understand them, you be a good listener, which you have to be as an actor anyway, because, you know, that's really more important. So I think for me, my 9 years in banking has really grounded me to understand discipline, to understand work, and to understand collaboration. Because I was the head of a unit and I business banking unit, so I would meet a lot of customers, a lot of business owners at different levels, and you got to know how to. I've studied human temperament. I've been 5 years now. I've been studying, human psychology and neuroscience of the brain. So because I want to know how people behave, including my character. So when
Right.
I go on set, and by the way, I'm going to tell you this is a very sweet story. You see, Raz Adoti, yeah, I watched
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down in 2002 when I was in university, and I fell in love with that movie. It was my war film of all times. I probably would have watched it about 40 times at the
Okay.
very least, and before we got on Son of the Soil, I was shooting another action film, and I had 3 days off, and I thought I was just gonna stay home, watch a film, please. Then I got on Netflix, and I saw recently added Black Hawk Down, and I watched it. And 3 days later, I get a message from Raz that this is Raz the Dirty and blah blah blah. He got my number from a casting director. He watched Gangs of Lagos, and he's come to
Okay.
Nigeria to shoot a film. And I'm like, okay. And he sent me his demo reel. And I'm like, okay, how did I watch this guy's film 3 days ago? And I get a message from this guy. And I've been watching this film since 2002. So I was really excited because, I mean, I see him as a legend, and I was excited. Oh, I'll work with him. And when I got on set as well, I think I've spoken to Chi before I also
Okay.
go on set, Joanna, all the people in the team. So when I go on set, I just wanted to tell a story, and I wanted to enjoy the work. I told you I'm an enjoying kind of guy. I like
Yes.
enjoying what I do. So I wanted to enjoy, I wanted to explore, I wanted to see, Chi's perspective as a director, because I'm used to Nigerian directors, of course. Someone said Nollywood is a genre. So I wanted to see, foreign director, what's it
Mm,
like? And it was absolutely easy to work with. I mean, you'd approach Chi with an idea. You look at it, you guys will bounce it off together. Then you give the nod. Yeah, 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 go do it. I'm like, that was a chill guy. I mean, Raz was just a great guy on set. He
right.
brought action on another level. He brought the Hollywood action guy,
Uh,
hero, one man army, finishing everybody. That was really nice. So yes, it was a very good production. So I'm really proud of that work. It was nice. I had a good time on set. For me, it was beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and we did all that work in 12 days. Nollywood is Nollywood is an evolving industry. I'll
right.
be very honest with you. I'll start with the positives.
Yes.
Nollywood is an industry that is making miracles out of nothing. We don't have the best of film schools. A lot of people didn't go for formal training, but one way or the other, our passion keeps driving us forward. And if you look at the last, 5 to 10 years, we've been doing better with the stories, with the
Yes.
cinematography, with the costuming, with the lighting. Like we're learning on the job, and we keep improving. I mean, to travel outside of Nigeria to foreign countries like the UK, US to go to film school is quite expensive, which is definitely for a select few in the industry. But by and large, by passion, by repeating things we do over and over again, we've been evolving. Now we're not perfect, we're far from it. Like every industry, we have our own issues. But from an actor's perspective, I would say that couple of by and large, it's gotten better. I think recently we had some issues with Netflix and Prime where we issues with distribution and all that. So that, that was like a stumbling block for 2025 because we couldn't now really do a lot of major projects like before. So actors were got less paid. A lot of people have to run to YouTube and all that. That's another, certain sector entirely. But one of the great things is that passion has driven us in Nollywood. Passion is something that has really driven us, because despite the fact that we had issues with distribution last year, people still went over to YouTube to continue to create. So creators were creating. I think one of the areas that we're still dealing with is the actor's financial life as an actor. It's not really smooth sailing. So you still have to get other things you have to do aside from acting. I think that's generally all over the world, because you don't determine when you get cast as an actor. But so far, so good. It's an industry that is evolving. And I also like the fact that new cats are coming up. People are really, because there are lots of actors. So there's now serious competition, which is a beautiful thing for the industry, because actors are now upping their game, their acting game. People are putting in work and all that. And especially now that, our movies are beginning to go global. It's no longer about who knows who's connected to who. I mean, that would also work in some part, but it's not about the raw talent. Do you have what it takes to play at an international level? That kind of thing. So 2026 to 2030 will be a very, very significant year in African movies, especially in Hollywood. It's like the wheat and the chaff will be separated. People who really want to do the work, who've got the creative energy, creative ability, the talent, and who will put in work at a global scale, they're going to rise to the top. So we're seeing a lot of things. There's a lot of rumbling underneath. There are lots of new directors, actors who are now becoming producers. So there's a lot going on in the industry. It's like an industry that's that's like a metamorphosis is going on. We are evolving into something. And I really dare say that I want to believe that based on all we've learned in the past, all our mistakes, I think we're going to now make something solid out of it.
When we look at other industries, whether it's the UK film industry, media industry, or the US Hollywood, we would find that, and I like the way you said about evolving, because they've evolved from show business to an industry to institutions.
Yeah.
Where those institutions, those film institutions, are also tied into economic institutions. They're also tied into social institutions.
Yeah.
Well, can you see that being shaped with Nigeria as well, with Nollywood? Do you see an interconnecting web starting to happen? If so, do you think Nollywood can grow to be that global social impacting institution?
So my answer to that question is an emphatic yes. Now let me tell you why. First off, and you're gonna like this one. Look at what Afrobeat has done to the world. So now, if we take a cue from that, we now begin to see the possibilities. Now, the truth is, the focus of the world is now on Africa, because remember that despite the fact that we are not as learned as the people in America or foreign countries, we are making miracles out of nothing. Now, imagine when we begin to have good film schools, understanding of equipment, because now, that's beginning to happen. So it's going to spread all around. Nollywood is, like I said, it's an evolving industry that's got tentacles. Now, when you look at our film, okay, let's start with costuming, for example. Nollywood and the fashion scene, they are very connected right now. So a lot of the goodness in the fashion industry is spilling into Nollywood and vice versa. You need to be at the AMVCAs. The AMVCAs is the African Magic Viewers Choice Award, which is like our Oscars year. Man, you need to be there, man. You need to see what fashion. You need to see what fashion is like. Then you need to see then that also sweeps into everything from fashion to food to music. So it's Nollywood is doing a lot. It's reshaping, so it's going to keep spreading its tentacles into the society. We have investors now, people who are waking up and really want to invest in films. So it's beginning to gather its own socio-economic power. And the more our films can travel, the more industries will want to plug in. The movie industry is a very vibrant industry in Nigeria that's really well respected. In December, for example, you need to go to the cinemas. You won't be able to move around. Like, it's
Right.
absolutely crowded during the festive season. Everybody wants to go to the cinemas. So we've started community theater, right? It's one thing that so like they take a new film, they go to a community, they'll get a hall instead of the normal regular cinemas. The price is a bit lower. People are flowing in. Because we're telling original African stories as well. We're beginning to showcase to the world certain historical stories from Africa. We're showing it to the world of how it started, and people are getting interest. And people also want to come and invest in the country because of what they see from film. So it's like I said, 2026 to 2030. I mean, with everything I've been seeing, will be fantastic time for the movie industry.
So now, I mean, in an industry that spans cinema, television, streaming platforms, online first content like YouTube films and short film digital projects. So how important is it regarding an actor to establish versatility in building like a sustainable career?
I mean, the truth is, excellence is the most prized thing at the moment now. There are lots of, different channels, YouTube. There are some actors who don't want to play on YouTube. Wherever I would say that for the actors who would watch this, right, this is a season of life where excellence in the craft is an absolute must. I mean, let's not kick out the fact that AI is there and the possibilities with AI is there already. So, we can't kick that away because there are possibilities with AI. So for the actor who wants to be relevant, they have to start performing at a godlike kind of level, because there's competition. So what stands you out? You must know how to market yourself, how to put yourself out there. So being versatile is absolutely fundamental, because nobody can argue with excellence.
Right.
That's the truth. So when people begin to see your work and they know you for excellence, even if you're not the most connected, because now producers need the best actors to be in a film, not necessarily the most popular, because the most popular actors could only be popular in Nigeria. It doesn't mean you're popular in Ghana. It doesn't mean you're popular in South Africa. You could be very popular. So now that the films are crossing borders, you need the best foot forward, not the most popular guy in Nigeria. They may not know the most popular guy in Korea, but everybody knows good acting when they see it. Everybody knows excellent acting when they see it. So that's what actors need to strive for, because there's going to be a separator in the next 5 years. The top actors would always rise to the top. We shouldn't forget what AI is coming to do. So the top actors would rise to the top. So it's very important. Versatility is an absolute must.
Son of the Soil, it's very much rooted in Nigerian local ethos, aspects of local Nigerian traditions, but I also felt that it had very much an international appeal, especially because it was a story that was told through that action genre. And the action genre, I believe, is one of the universal languages of film.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give actors hoping to work internationally while still staying rooted in local stories?
That's a very good question. So what I'll say first is, be the home is always a testing point for anything. So be fantastic at home, but let your craft be. Let me take a few steps back. So I had a conversation with someone, a foreigner a while ago, and the person said something that Nollywood has a style, that Nollywood is actually like a genre. of acting. That Nollywood has its own genre of acting. So because we're Africans, right? There's a way we talk. There's an energy we have. There's a body language. There are all those things that are very common to Nigerians. And like, if you're going to transcend that, you should also know how to either tone that down or bring it up.
Right.
Whatever you're going to do. So you must be able to act in such a way that act for the international audience, be able to cut across. Now, that doesn't mean to water yourself down, but really to understand, okay, are you being cast as a Nigerian in the film you're going to do, or how are you going to play a black man from another continent if you were really cast? How flexible are you? So I think for an actor who wants to be international, firstly, be successful in your hometown. That was what I was told when I went to film school in the US. I wanted to stay back in the US. Like, look, man, there are lots of actors here. So you go back on home, be great at what you're doing, and we will see it, and you can be able to come across. I would even say, to a very large extent, that actors shouldn't even really focus on, necessarily crossing the waters and, being international. There's a lot that's happening in Africa in the next 5 years. And if you're trying, there's nothing wrong in wanting to get an Oscar and all that. I mean, I'm absolutely for it. But we also need to build our own continent. We also need to build African film. There's nothing wrong with Universal wanting to shoot the next Fast and Furious in Nigeria.
Go ahead.
So I'm up for that. I'm like, look, let's build our own Africa. Right? If we've got a storytelling style, then let's go to the max with it. If any actor that wants to cross over, yes, be ready to pay the price, be ready to dance to the tune, whatever. I mean, who pays the piper, dictates the tune. Be ready to dance to the tune, but be excellent, be fantastic, and push out for it if that's what you want. Why don't we just come together and create something mad for Africa? Then let the people outside be like, whoa, what's going in there? I want to go be part of that. I would vote for that versus just wanting to go and be in another Hollywood film. I mean, if you can, yes, beautiful, push for it. But we could also make films that will go across the world and sell, $1.5 billion in the box office. I believe it.
Can you see a Pan-African continent collaboration? So Nigeria and Ghana collaborating to make a film, or Nigeria and South Africa, or Nigeria and Sudan. Wouldn't that be a beautiful collaboration? And cross-cultural and a cultural exchange, and wouldn't that be wonderful?
So the reason why I'm doing this was, I don't know if I can't speak about it, but so we did a film last year, right? Okay, I'm not going to mention it. We did a film last year, futuristic, like Africa in about 40 years from now, and it was a meeting of a couple of presidents. And the same, if you needed to see the tech, everything in the film, which shows the future of Africa. It was like 6 African presidents coming together to have a discussion about the future of Africa. What you just said, my brother, is not only possible, it is inevitable. Africa has begun to see the light. Right. There's an action film from South Africa that I've forgotten the title now. A couple of Nigerian, there's some sci-fi thing going on with it. A couple of Nigerian guys were in that movie. Like a couple of Nigerian guys. So we've started there. I've been in a film where Justin Duma from Ghana, Andrew Bunting from Ghana were in the same film here in Nigeria. The collaboration of Africans is inevitable. The beautiful thing is that Africans like Africans to a very large extent. We have this brotherhood thing going on everywhere we are. And Africa has started to see the light of who we really can be without the influence of the West. Look at Afrobeat music. Look, man, 30 years ago, right? If you went to a party, it was Mace, it was Puff Daddy, it was all this. When you go to a Nigerian party now, it's Afrobeat all through.
Right.
And look at what Afrobeat is doing to the world. Taken over by storm. Everybody wants to be on an Afrobeat track. Everybody wants to sing with a Nigerian. It's exactly what's going to happen in the next 5 years. We're going to be making some insane collaborations. I mean, there's the Africa International Film Festival that happens in Nigeria every November, right? And I've attended since I moved into the industry. And every year you get to meet producers, directors from all over the continent. We come together. You know, there's a program I'm supposed to have in March here where I and a couple of Nigerian actors were supposed to go to Uganda, you know, just to mix with, you know, Uganda actors and, you know, the movie industry there and see collaboration. So yeah, these things are going to pop up. Once we can clear the distribution channels and we can open the path for distributions, it's going to pop up. It's going to be the best thing, you know, for Africa as far as I'm concerned.
Any young actors that will be watching or attending this masterclass, what advice would you give them to be able to build a sustainable career?
So thank you for asking that. That's a very brilliant question, because there were some things I also didn't know when I stepped into the industry. Even though I thought long and hard about it, but you know, there was something about me when I came into the industry, because the movie that announced me in the industry was a big one. So I had a feeling it was going to be, you know, it was going to keep on. It was going to be like that. So initially, when I got into the industry, blah, 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 there were lots of films back to back. Then it slowed down, right? Then it now became a bit more paced. Then it was more of quality work. So the first thing I'll say to any young actor watching this, or anyone, even not young, anybody who decides to be an actor, is, you know, as long as it's a head decision, let it be a heart decision as well. Let it be from both.
Okay.
You know, don't let it be a head decision alone. Let it be a head decision and a heart decision. The heart is very important.
So balance is key.
Balance is key, very key. If it's a heart decision and it's not a head decision, wait a while, let your head also catch up, because reality is going to wait for you. You're not starting out as Denzel Washington, so you gotta be very humble. You gotta be ready to pay your dues. That I would emphasize. Be ready to pay your dues. I mean, you may get a lucky jump and a lucky break. That's fine, but just come in ready to pay your dues and let it play out. Get training, please. Get training, please. It's like, you know, you want to be a doctor and you don't want to go to med school. You want to be a lawyer. You don't want to go to law school. You know, I see a lot of people jump into acting with talent. And I'm here to tell them that talent is great, but when it comes to acting, talent is 30%. You need skills, because you have to understand the human body and how your body responds. So it's not about being able to just go there and say, oh, I can drop a line. Acting has nothing to do with lines. The lines are just there because that's what the character is saying. But you need to understand your body. So you need to go to a film school, work with the coach, do theater. Like, my background is in theater. So if you can get into theater, absolutely amazeballs. Get into theater and put yourself out there. Acting has gone from the days where, you know, you're waiting for the phone to ring. This instrument is one of the greatest things in the world. You can shoot your own film. You can shoot a film with your iPhone. You can shoot something that you can put out there, because you can't just wait for the phone to ring anymore. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out. It doesn't matter if you have been there for a while. You can shoot something and put it out there. No one can argue with excellence. When people see good acting, they know. So it doesn't matter if you're a newbie or if you could put something out there and keep putting yourself out there. Network as much as you can, but let your excellence be above the network. Network as much as you can, but don't rely on the network alone. A lot of the films that I've gotten to do, they just came from referrals. Somebody saw a film that was in and called me and all that. You know, when I came also, I went to all the events. You know, I wear the suit, I go to all the events, meet everybody, but a lot of times it just doesn't work like that, you know. And enjoy it. And by all means, please get something else to do on the side. I'm going to say that again.
Okay.
Please get something to do on the side. Have a day job if you can. Have something that brings you money. Because as an actor, you don't get to decide when you get cast for a film, unless it's your film you're producing. So if you're waiting to get cast, what happens if you don't get cast in 6 months? What do you do? Because that's also one of the things that, you know, kill actors. They're home, you know, they're not doing anything else, then they're not having any money, and so go there and enjoy, but have something that brings you money. It helps your art. You know, when you're comfortable and you're not running after the bills, it just helps your performance as well. You know, you're not performing for money, because that's one of the things I totally stay clear of. I don't want it to be, oh, I want to perform, but it's just because of the money. Nah, I like the money. I mean,
Yes.
I wouldn't have a problem being paid like Robert Downey, $75 million for a film. I mean, that would be good. But as we climb the ladder of it, it's good to just be wise, learn how to budget, learn how to make money, learn how to invest. Read as much as you can. I just read generally, be interested in the why of things. One of the exercise that I do is I go to like a crowded place sometimes and sit down and just watch people. And I
Okay.
learn a lot. I learn a lot in an hour. I see different, when I'm looking, so for the physicality of a character, yeah, you see 5 men walk in different ways, different patterns, some with their necks first, some with their different people. You see different energies. Someone is brooding, someone is sad and working. You just get to see human beings in their elements. They don't know you're looking, but you're just studying. It helps with the understanding of people, characterization, body languages. So you have a reference point. Then lastly, in your own life as an actor, do things that make you feel the emotions you will play in a film.
Right.
Live a joyful life, so that when you need to play a joyful character, you have something recent to draw on, not joy you felt 5 years ago. Live a peaceful life. Live a life of loving, be caring, be attentive. Get angry when you want to get angry, but whatever the emotions you need as an actor, ensure you do things in your life that make you feel those emotions and feel them genuinely, so that whenever you need to play a character, you don't start looking for, oh, okay, what does it feel like to be happy? I haven't been happy in 6 months. So you don't get into that quagmire, just and see it as a calling. Acting is not just for, it's a purpose. You get to show society who we are. We get to show society this is who you are. Because a lot of time people can't introspect. But when they watch a film, they're able to identify that, oh, that's how I'm behaving. And that's the consequences of that behavior. Maybe I ought to stop that. And they can see themselves in the film. So you must be an actor wanting, the bright lights are just a reward, the awards, the fancy, those are just let that not be your focus. If you want to be an actor worthy of repute, I mean, those are not bad, because yes, people should celebrate you for doing a great job of being an actor, but see artistry more of a purpose, of a calling that God decided to use you to create. You create life, you embody another person's, you lend your mind, you feel, you step into people's shoes, you live many lives, as in one life you get to live many lives.
Just finally, what do you want people to walk away with after seeing Son of the Soil? What do you hope they walk away with?
Son of the Soil. Okay. Let me. I want to land this. So this is a very beautiful question you asked me, but I want to land the answer very well. Son of the Soil. There's a way Son of the Soil would tug at the heart of every living human being.
Right.
Because of family. Family is that nucleus of the society that unites us all. Whether you love your family or you don't, but there's just usually one person you love. And the fact that, someone would do what, Zion Ladejo did, all because of family. And also because of society. Because he was trying to also get the drugs off the street.
Yes.
That was also very, very important. So when you watch Son of the Soil, I want people to understand that in this crazy world that we're living in this very selfish world that we're living in, love for your family, for the next person, for the society. If we could love the society the way Zion tried to, yes, it wasn't like it was still love. He's trying to get the drugs off the street,
Yes.
and he's trying to get justice for his sister. If we could just love each other. It's a love story as far as I'm concerned.
Go ahead.
You know, it's a love story. If people would decide to see that perspective of it, it's a love story. If we
Go.
could just love the other person and be tolerant and want the world to be a better place. So that's what I want people when they watch Son of the Soil. I want them to enjoy action. I mean, I want them to also see, you know, a part of Nigeria. You know, I also wanted to see international collaboration. We had a legendary Hollywood actor come act in Nigerians and all that. And, you know, I want you to enjoy the action, enjoy the directing. I think Chi was really brilliant in it. And I know he won an award for Best Director on that film at the Black Stars Awards in Ghana. Really beautiful story. You get to see some of Nigerians. You get to see the thug life in Nigeria and all that. But for me, if I would take out one thing, it's love. It's a love story for me. For you know, for those who are Christians, there's that thing: for God so loved the world, he gave up his blood.
Yes.
For Zion so loved his sister that he
Yes.
basically almost gave his life,
That's
you know,
right.
to ensure that justice is done. You know, and
Well,
yeah.
Damilola, it's been wonderful engaging with you, and I'm quite sure our watching and listening audience would have gained a deeper insight for those that want to be actors and get into the industry. For even others that want to get into the industry in other aspects, whether it's directing or producing, because it's covered so much ground, sir. So it truly has been a masterclass. So thank you once again, brother. It has truly been an honor.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you to British Council. Thank you to Action Extreme. This means a lot to me. I had a good time, and I sincerely pray that this impacts the life of everybody who watches it.